So just a quick video here. You guys know me. I am very much a terminal person, and I guarantee you that like I could get the answers to my questions 1,000 times faster using links in W3M. However, when we're talking about this exam, I came to this thing. I was starting to read the Kubernetes documentation, like I've talked about in my quests to get my cert for Kubernetes. I use this documentation all the time in this form constantly. I'm able to search through it and everything, but I'm going to do something that's going to make people a little bit surprised. I'm deliberately not going to use this documentation, and I just have to push comma in links and it opens up an actual web browser. And the reason for this, and this is what this video is about, is because this is what I'm allowed to use on the exam. Okay, so when I use the exam, hi Tony. So when I take the test, you're allowed to open kubernetes.io/docs, kubernetes.io/blog, and github.com. So you can have a tab open. This is how they have you do the test. This is what I'm told anyway. I haven't done it, but this is what I'm told. You can have these 3 tabs open, and that's it. So I'm following as close as I can into what is allowed. You can go to this Kubernetes website. You can look at any of the stuff that's here. There's examples, which makes me wonder why they allowed that to be okay. Tanya, do you know if they let you look at the examples on the test? Because it says it's allowed. It said it was allowed. So, okay, so according to the documentation that I've just recently read in the FAQ and everything, and I can go find it again. I did another video on it. You can go to the documentation page, the blog page, and the actual Kubernetes GitHub site. You cannot access any of these things from the command line. And so that's what this letter says. So this is one of those cases where, well, let's actually go back and figure this one out. You can find anything. No, you can't use GitHub. You can use this site, the Kubernetes site only. Yeah. In fact, I'm going to answer this question for you again, right? So in fact, let's use a graphic browser here. I'm deliberately using a graphic browser because I want to use exactly what is I want to get into the habit of using what's on the test. And that means I want my eyes to get used to finding things on the graphic web browser that would look foreign to me as text. Okay. Normally, those that know me, I like my eyes to train well on my terminal browser stuff because I can find it faster. So my eyes are trained to find visual cues throughout the page. But in the case of this test, I want my eyes to be trained to find exactly what is there because it's all about speed, right? It's all about speed. And if I look at this thing in a graphic browser, it's entirely different and quite frankly, the documentation for Kubernetes is graphic centric. There's a number of stuff up at the top that you always have to search past to get a really good answer. And I'll be the first to admit there's certain forms of documentation that look better graphically. So I'm not against graphic browsing for documentation, but usually I can get an answer within a half second when I know exactly what I'm searching for. But when you're digesting documentation, I think that visual clues and different fonts and all of those things serve as mnemonic devices. In fact, you can make an argument that the Head First book series took that psychological truth and they capitalized on it by making things silly because your brain makes it stick more. And for somebody like me, whose brain has a hard time, with stuff sticking in there, I think any of the mnemonic devices I get is better. So I'll be doing this. Should I do it without dark mode on? I don't know. Maybe I should turn dark mode off. Maybe if I take the exam, I'm not allowed to have dark mode on because I have a browser that can't use it. I really don't know. I mean, how much do I want to use this whole kind of idea? With this chess game, the Deep Blue, he used to physically, but playing on the computer screen when they put a board in, he saw his mistake. Wow, that's so amazing. Yeah. So yeah, and by the way, this is just neural net stuff, right? This is exactly how neural nets are trained. They're trained by recognizing something, right? You could have the exact same page, you put it in dark mode and machine learning stuff will miss it because it doesn't know what it is because it's got a different color in it. So this is how our brains are actually trained, and it's probably wise for me to do that. The exam's $375. That's another video we covered. So I just want to end this video now. This is where we go to look up the documentation. There is one last question before I wrap up this particular video, which is, again, the video is about getting used to reading docs like on the exam. I actually think I might do white mode in my reading on this as yet another, consistency with how I'm going to actually take the test. If we search here for certification, see, again, being able to search the documents using these methods, I think is the way to go. I wonder if this is a violation. It'd be interesting to know. There's an FAQ. You know what? I'm going to do it in Chrome too, because it says that you can only use Chrome or Chromium on the test. And I'm like, okay, I don't even think this is working, to tell you the truth. So yeah, I don't think it supports Firefox. I have found so many sites broken with Firefox lately. Honestly, it's a pretty old Firefox that I have, but I have found a lot of broken sites on Firefox. So I'm going to put here, use Chromium or Chrome or Chromium. That they specifically mention that in the preparation materials. So, and usually when that's mentioned, that's a thing. So I'm going to do that right now. There's my Chrome. Where are you, Chrome? Here you come, you big bloated piece of crap. So let's go back here. You can use Dev Console. Chromium would apply Edge. Yeah, you can use Edge. You can use Chrome. So Kubernetes. And I'm going to actually memorize these URLs, of course. So you can't use Kubernetes.io, but you can use Kubernetes.doc. I don't know. We'll figure. So where's my extension that's causing it to be dark mode? How do I turn what? Dark reader is on. We're going to turn dark reader off. I don't understand why this is. Oh, there we go. Okay, turn it off. There we go. Oh God. But it does, it's easier to read. It's just hurting my eyes. Oh, well, I'm sorry about that. But Linux Foundation, yeah, that's the one I'm looking for, guy. Yeah, right now, that's the FAQ. We're going by that. We want to go with the docs. Don't listen to me. Go read about it. Back and certification. And guide to Kubernetes mission controllers. Gosh, this is so hard to read. Super sorry about that. I'll try to make it bigger. It's funny because it's like I'm on my phone when I do this. So, Kubernetes documentation, it's certified programmer launch, and no. See, I can't search. I hate graphic browsers. I really hate them. But if I'm going to do the exam, I got to do this. It didn't find the FAQ at all. Nope. And I found it first hit when I did it with the Panic Kubernetes and Docker or Kubernetes Basics. Yeah, I don't know. Did you find it? You have the link. I'll just steal your link. Why is it on the Cloud Native Foundation? It shouldn't be. Why is it Cloud Native? And it doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? I don't get why that's there. It should not be there. All right, so what resources I'm allowed to use using the exam? Kubernetes docs, Kubernetes, and the blog. So you can use everything that's on this site right here. All of this, and that's a lot of stuff. So there, because they administer the test. Okay, that's good to know. So that's everything. You can read the website. You can read the example. This examples, I imagine, is going to be a really big one. Look at this. It's got like all these different ways to do stuff. I don't know. I mean, this is going to be the basis of our learning so that we can use it on the test. And that's all I have to say about that. So use Chrome or Chromium. Since better Okay, since that, I don't know, since works better, it does. Use graphics for better visual, we want to say this, mnemonic, cues. Did I get that right? Mnemonic cue, visual mnemonic cues, and get good searching for things quickly, and using your mouse. Especially practice if you rarely use GUI browser. That's only something that I would say on my stream, because I hate graphic browsers. I'm super slow with them because I don't have all the muscle memory, and I refuse to put Vimium on there. I had it for a while, but it would just always, I'm going to put that too, get Vimium off. So here's the thing. If you put Vimium on there, I'm going to end with this. This is a known problem. If you put Vimium on there, when you go to do the certification exam, you will have conflicts with the terminal because of Vimium, and you'll be scrolling your window and stuff instead of actually doing, you know, VI commands or thing. So stop using Vimium. Just stop. Stop using Vimium, or turn Vimium off for those websites, at least for these sites, at least for allowed doc sites. Okay. On Kubernetes exam, Kubernetes, oh God, Kubernetes exam, get used to reading docs like on Kubernetes exam. All right, so let's see. I think the one additional tab limit might be worthwhile to add. Oh, right. You get one additional tab. Now, I think, it doesn't say what you can use on the tab though. Where's that back again? Let's say review the exam instructions, use their Chromium browser to open one additional tab in order to access assets. Okay, so you can only do it from one tab. Ooh. Okay. Okay, so click. I'm gonna just put remember. You only get 2 tabs. One for exam, other for docs. That's super important. I would think that you would want to make bookmarks and stuff then, right? So consider creating bookmarks for prominently, since only one tab. Yeah, store in session local. That's another thing you could do. You could optimize, you could pre-cache it. How about that? Pre-cache the sites by visiting, pre-cache the sites by visiting a lot during training. Another reason to use it. You're just going to get used to what you're using. If you were to use the Udemy stuff, you'd have to get used to their documentation and stuff, the way they did it, and it would be irrelevant on the exam. So I'm really glad we're talking through this. There's a lot of reasons to put Chromium on there, even during your studies. Use Chrome during your studies and get used to the navigation and the quirks, where to click, and things like that. Why is it written use their Chrome browser? I think they have a browser they give you that you have to use. Yeah, I'm almost positive they give you a browser that you have to use. So, yeah. Spider crawl for offline. I don't know if you know what? That's a good question. Does anybody know who's taken it? We had a few people that have taken the exam before. Did anybody know do you have to use their app? Yeah, bookmarks will work. That's one of the reasons I'm thinking. So pre-caching and bookmarks, forget it. You're not going to get that if you have to use their thing. Control F is going to be your best friend. I know, and I hate Control F. So how do I say this? I haven't taken the certification exams. Of course you haven't. Most really good people I know in Cloud Native have never taken the exams. It's like they also don't have college degrees. All of the top people that I know, almost none of them have college degrees. Most of them don't have high school degrees. I have 3 people that are like kick-ass technologists, never finished high school. So rebind Control F, yes. So, so there we go. So these are the subdomains. This includes all available language translations. Another tabs may be open and other sites may be navigated to, including discuss.kubernetes.io. So I assume that means you can't search from the site. So like if you go over here, this says you can search the documentation. So this is probably good. We're going to be good at this. So let's do daemon sets. So let's do daemon sets, search results. This means that there's not going to be any multiple choice test questions because it's going to be very little memorization, right? Yeah, of course you are. So and there you go. Daemon set ensures the blah 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 blah. Professional grade certs. Hope I can do that. Yeah, you don't. I hate professional certs too, but as I said, I'm using this as kind of a vehicle, both to fill the gaps and to help other people out there know what at least these people feel are the minimums to this. I feel like you still have to layer multiple things on here to get a job in this though. And I kind of want to cover those bases at the same time for beginners, like set up your own Kubernetes cluster. I tell you what, I've actually had somebody in the chat say, who was a hiring manager. He said he would hire somebody who had a personal Kubernetes cluster at home that they run and maintain over anybody with a cert any day. If the 2 candidates came to him and one ran Kubernetes at home for fun and had their own cluster, and the other one had a cert with very little knowledge of it and had never run their own cluster, the absolute immediate hire decision would be the person who had ran in their own cluster at home. So I don't have a date in mind. I don't know what time. Okay, so let's wrap up this video. Get used to reading the docs like in the Kubernetes exam, as you've seen. Get Chromium. Get it to the way you want to read it. This is not the way. It probably makes sense to get it to the right size that you're going to use, which means you're going to have a hard time reading the site when I do it on this thing, because I'm going to set my scale for the exam, and then I'm going to stick with it. So that's going to be my scale. So my scale is currently 110%. Let's go with 100% scale. I'm going to go with 100% scale, and I'm going to stick with that. Even if you can't read it, I'm sorry, because stick with 100% scale so stuff doesn't move around. Get good with searching, and I believe like these are all good tips here. There's oh, absolutely. Moz UK, there are people that do this all the time. They had to actually give people 2 killer.sh access practice exams in order to get people to stop complaining about failing the exam, because they said the environment was too foreign to them, because they had no way to test the environment, and it was like little quirks about the web browser and all that stuff. I actually resent the fact that I'm being forced to use a graphic web browser to do this when I could most definitely do all of these tasks without it. But you gotta play by the rules there. That's, if you want to do it, you gotta play by the small people rules that use graphic browsers. I'm kidding. It's a joke. It's a joke. So, and on that note, probably time for me to stop this video.